Welcome everyone. Bonjour tout le monde. So my name is Gatna Salam. I'd like to welcome each and every one of you to this very important event today. But before we get started, I'm going to speak in my own language and then I'm going to translate what I said. Onege uwani zarade, tinitsu ga izawes, agwego wat kunuwarado, nedi ziniti dakanaraje, yotsanunya, agwego yogoda garide. Nono da shadorete ogadino jared zituniot, gigo ostawa kawi, ne doana dunkwa ne yetinistan huza. Nedi ziniti judaso zium zade zinyore ne uwani zarade, agwego se yogotka wahaje. Nahode yogotsta chade wini zarage dana yatana jodakte. Yated yustarista zinohoda. Nona daso tungore anago nahoda gaharunyu. Seguna ne tanizero daje nioni. Nek kariwanota ne chade wini zarage. Onakti dayede wanu horadu. Onona ne zinigane gajoko gwego aska. Ne adawa wat nuni nagwat nigura. Tanu da tsidano waradu no hoda da wana dunkwa ne sa oyera ga sa stansara goa. Kigo ga naku kawi gana zowi. Oneganu ska iwa. Nezi chata wini zarage onakti adawa negira nezi yunheje. Onegi antka daso aska jinigaro nodo. Okay, you may all be seated, please. So what I said in my own language is, first of all, following ancient treaty protocols, I acknowledge each and every one of you that are gathered here today. As I'm looking around, we are all seemingly in good mind, good health, good spirit. And when we ask ourselves, why is that? This is a snapping turtle. It represents my creation story, but it also talks about Mother Earth, because we are at her bosom, and she gives us pure, unconditional love every day. And the only thing that she asks of us is that we have this attitude of gratitude. And for my people, that gets expressed in sacred songs, dances, speeches, rituals. I just sang a song to what we call in my language, Asa Nigodanoza, which means the three sisters. The corn, the beans, the squash. Because I don't care how much money anybody has, you can't eat it. The plant people, the plant nation, they are the ones that sustain us every day. And we acknowledge them and we give them thanks. So to all the water, the fish, the medicines, the grasses, the strawberry, the corn, the beans, the squash, all the animals, the four-leggeds, all the trees, the forests, and the birds. When we finish with this lower world, we look up. We acknowledge the four winds, our grandfathers, the thunder beings, our elder brother, the sun, our grandmother, the moon, the stars, the star knowledge, the star stories, and the star people. From there, now we go to the ancestor realm, all of those ones that have gone before us, that are now part of that sacred energy. We acknowledge the four beings, and we all acknowledge those messengers that come in our dreams when we sleep. Now, on behalf of all of us, we put our minds together as one. And we acknowledge that source of life for all life, that we are still here today. This morning we had the opportunity to open two gifts, which was our eyes. And here we are, being able to sing, dance, and be happy, and to participate in this great thing called life. And all we have to do is to be grateful and thankful. So I welcome you to Jochage, historically known as Kanyogehage territory. I bid you all the best in love, peace, friendship, and good health. And now we can continue on with the festivities. Merci beaucoup. Thank you very much.
goodwill, Queen of the colleges, dear old McGill.
Thank you, Elder Deere, for being here for today's ceremonies and for your opening remarks. I think everybody can be seated now. How's that? And thank you also, Professor Sfino, for your performance in University Song. Better you than me. I'd like to start by recognizing that McGill University is on the land which has long served as a site of meeting and exchange among Indigenous peoples, including the Haudenosaunee and the Anishinaabe nations. We acknowledge and thank the diverse Indigenous peoples whose presence marks this territory on which peoples of the world now gather. Good morning, Principals Emeriti, Chairs Emeriti, members of the Board of Governors, distinguished guests, and members of the McGill community. Welcome to this very important event in the life of our university. I would like to give a warm welcome to the family and guests of our new principal and vice-chancellor, many of whom are sitting up front. Hi. And je voudrais bien souhaiter la bienvenue à Monsieur Daniel Jutra aussi. Où est Daniel? Quelque part? Il est là? Il est derrière? Il est là. Salut Daniel. Daniel Jutra, qui est le recteur de l'Université de Montréal, un de nos partenaires avec McGill dans beaucoup de projets. And many other people have come from partners institutions in Canada, United States, and around the world, and all of us are here to witness the installation of Professor Deep Saini as the university's 18th principal and vice-chancellor. And actually, we're marking the return to our city. Deep was a professor for 15 years at Université de Montréal, and where he started in his early career. So I guess as T.S. Eliot said, "In my beginning is my end." Back to Montreal, and that's great. Thank you. Professor Saini's appointment as principal of McGill University is a testament to his outstanding achievements, unwavering dedication, and visionary leadership. And he's also a really nice person. Deep started his career in primary school in India on a dirt floor. The first time he saw a desk was in grade 6. But since then, he's continued to have a distinguished academic career spanning decades. He's made significant contributions to the field of agriculture, life sciences, and academia at large. As well, he was president of the University of Canberra in the capital city of Australia, and also the president recently of Dalhousie University, a great university in eastern Canada. Professor Saini's wealth of experience, expertise, and passion for education in a public university makes him a perfect candidate to guide McGill into the new era of growth and development. I'm sure of that. I was on the committee that chose him. So I now invite Maryse Bertrand, Chair of the Board of Governors, and Professor Deep Saini to center stage to begin the proceedings.
Moi, Maryse Bertrand, présidente de l'Institution royale pour l'avancement des sciences et présidente du Conseil des gouverneurs de l'Université McGill, propose, au nom du Conseil des gouverneurs, que l'on vous investisse, Deep Saini, des fonctions et du titre de principal et vice-chancelier de l'Université.
I, John McCormick Bain, Chancellor of McGill University, in the name of the Board of Governors of the University and by the authority of its statutes, do invest you, Deep Saini, with the office and title of Principal and Vice-Chancellor of McGill University in order that you may administer this office in accordance with the statutes, privileges, liberties, and customs of the university. I now invite Principal Emeriti Suzanne Fortier to come to the center of the stage to proceed with the robing. Suzanne? Merci, Suzanne. So I'll now invite Maryse Bertrand, Chair of the Board of Governors, back to center stage to join the principal for the presentation of the University Charter and Seal.
Moi, Maryse Bertrand, présidente de l'Institution royale pour l'avancement des sciences et présidente du Conseil des gouverneurs de l'Université McGill, ai l'honneur, au nom du Conseil des gouverneurs, d'accueillir Deep Saini dans ses fonctions de principal et vice-chancelier de l'Université, en foi de quoi je lui confie la garde de la charte et du sceau de l'Université.
I, Deep Saini, promise to faithfully carry out the duties entrusted to me and accept in my keeping the charter and the seal of McGill University. Moi, Deep Saini, promets de m'acquitter fidèlement des fonctions qui me sont confiées et accepte de prendre sous ma garde la charte et le sceau de l'Université McGill.
So before we start with the musical prelude, I thought we should also mention that Deep is another first. Deep is the first Principal Vice-Chancellor of McGill University from the Faculty of Agriculture and Environmental Science. Thank you. Where's the Dean? Where's Anya? She was also on the committee. So we'll now proceed with our performers are students from McGill School of Music. Charlotte Disselay, accompanied by Ricardo Piquencho on the guitar, will sing a rendition of Roller Charlebois' Je reviendrai à Montréal. Robert was unable to make it.
Dans un grand Boeing bleu de mer, j'ai besoin de revoir l'hiver et ses aurores boréales. J'ai besoin de cette lumière descendu droit du Labrador et qui fait neiger sur l'hiver des roses bleues, des roses d'or. Dans le silence de l'hiver, je veux revoir ce lac étrange entre le cristal et le verre où viennent se poser les anges. Je reviendrai à Montréal. Écoutez pierres et rejaillir au bord des toits comme des bonbons de bonbons clairs. Je reviendrai à Montréal dans un grand Boeing bleu de mer. Je reviendrai à Montréal, me marier avec l'hiver, me marier avec l'hiver. Ricardo Picanco à la guitare. Merci.
Oops. Thank you, Charlotte and Ricardo, for your lovely performance. I'm sure Robert Charlevoix would be very impressed. I will now introduce those who are here today to speak with us, who will give greetings to the new principal. I will ask each guest to come to the podium and present their greetings in the following order. First, Monsieur Daniel Jutras, recteur de l'Université de Montréal et président du Bureau de coopération interuniversitaire. Deuxièmement, Professor Anja Geitman, Dean of the Faculty of Agriculture and Environmental Science, the Dean of DEEP's new faculty, as a representative of the faculty at the university, and as I mentioned, also a member of the committee that chose DEEP. Gabrielle Korn, Managing Director of the Alumni Relations and Annual Giving, as a representative of the administration and support staff of McGill University. And Carrie Yang, Bachelor of Science in Neuroscience, class of 2023, also representative of the students of McGill University, and also a member of the committee that chose Professor Saini. And finally, Professor Jihad Atiha, Department of Biology, University of Balamand in Lebanon. He came all the way from Lebanon to make a little toast to his former teacher and former graduate student of DEEP. Monsieur Jutras.
Mr. Chancellor, Madam Chair of the Board, Mr. Principal and Vice-Chancellor, distinguished guests and friends, it is an exceptional honor for me to participate in this installation ceremony and to say a few words in celebration of my friend Deep Saini, McGill's new Principal and Vice-Chancellor. En tant que président du Bureau de coopération interuniversitaire, je parle au nom de tous les établissements de la grande communauté universitaire du Québec, mais aussi plus largement au Canada et ailleurs. Mais c'est surtout en tant que recteur de l'Université de Montréal que je souhaite prendre la parole aujourd'hui. It is appropriate on this occasion for me to underline the long history that binds together McGill University and Université de Montréal in friendship, collaboration, mutual respect, and support. But I wish to go further. Much as McGill can point, proudly, I hope, to my 35 years as a professor in its distinguished Faculty of Law, I want to proudly claim Principal Saini as ours. Il est de chez nous. His career began on the other side of the mountain, in a distinguished trajectory in which he moved back and forth between Canada and the opposite side of the world. Deep Saini spent 18 formative years as a scholar and teacher in my university. We shared with him the values of freedom, courage, passion, integrity, and openness that set him on his course to become who he is today. My connection to McGill and his connection to Université de Montréal is not a trivial state of affairs. It is unprecedented in our history, a true bond that can be leveraged to take both our universities to new heights. Alors oui, il me fait plaisir de dire que le nouveau principal de l'Université McGill est un professeur de l'Université de Montréal. Of course, Deep Saini is much more than this. Others this morning will celebrate his past accomplishments, and this gives me the freedom to celebrate his future accomplishments. On dit souvent ces jours-ci que les universités sont à un point tournant de leur histoire. Universities, they say, are at a crossroads, a point of inflection. Nothing new here, really. People who've been around for a while, and that includes Deep Saini and myself, know that universities are always at a crossroads, always at a point of inflection. I prefer the metaphor of universities as spinning tops, rotating at great speed around a solid axis made up of foundational commitments to the quest for truth and wisdom. La toupie tourne vite ces temps-ci. Le développement rapide de l'intelligence artificielle, la numérisation du savoir, les crises climatiques et sanitaires, l'instabilité géopolitique, la fragilisation des démocraties, la polarisation sociale et les inégalités croissantes, les défis sont nombreux et complexes. Il est normal que nos sociétés se tournent vers les grandes universités pour trouver des réponses. Et ces grandes universités ont le devoir moral d'agir et de se transformer pour mettre le savoir au service du bien commun. McGill University is one of the great universities of the world. Its exceptional scholars take part in the global conversations that can make the world safer and healthier for our children and their children. McGill trains the next generation of scientists as well as future global and community leaders. Its contributions to our future lives are and will be immeasurable. For years to come, Principal Deep Saini will carry the unique voice of this world-class university in all circles, to all peoples and places. He will do so with grace, energy, and wisdom, just like his predecessors in a long line of men and women, beginning with George Mountain, all the way up to Heather Monroe Bloom and Suzanne Fortier, who have put McGill University in this place of honor. Un dernier mot sur la chance que vous avez de pouvoir compter sur un homme de la trempe de Deep Saini pour les prochaines années. J'ai vu les photos de Deep Saini qui datent des années 90. Il avait l'air exactement de ce qu'il a l'air aujourd'hui. Mustache and all. He's not aged one bit. It's quite possible that unbeknownst to the selection committee, McGill can now count on a principal who is blessed with eternal life. Long live this university, long live its new principal, and best wishes for a rich, fruitful, and transformative future for McGill.
Il ne reste plus rien à dire. Président Recteur Jutras a tout dit. Members of the university and distinguished guests, it is my great honor and my pleasure to welcome you, Principal Saini, on behalf of the professors of McGill University. J'ai le privilège et le plaisir de vous saluer, Monsieur le Principal, au nom du corps professoral de l'Université McGill. The professors of McGill University represent a diverse community of scholars committed to excellence in research and teaching. Our scholarly activities are performed on and off campus, on the island of Montreal and off island, in the province of Quebec, across Canada, and internationally. Our scholarly networks span the globe, and we welcome you as the head of a vibrant and dynamic community. Steeped in a tradition of unique collegiality and a sense of community, the professoriate has played a crucial role in the growth of this university and its evolution for more than 200 years. Each of us has made a unique contribution to the university's history, and the result is an academic institution with global reach and local imprint. Avec son corps professoral divers, McGill est ancré dans la province de Québec et rayonne au niveau international. You arrive at a time that sees McGill thriving. Through our research and teaching activities, we address the many challenges and opportunities that the 21st century brings for society and humankind. This dynamic period coincides with the beginning of the university's own third century, an opportune moment for the institution to position itself with regards to its local and global roles. We look forward to your participation in ongoing developments and in the exploration of new opportunities, and we're confident that under your leadership, McGill will rise to new heights. Monsieur le Principal, au nom de tous les professeurs, je vous souhaite la bienvenue à McGill. Je suis aussi personnellement, en tant que doyenne de la Faculté de sciences de l'agriculture et de l'environnement, très heureuse de vous accueillir en tant que professeur au sein de la faculté et au sein du département de sciences végétales, et ainsi en tant que membre de la communauté du campus McDonald. Principal Saini, I speak on behalf of all McGill academics in welcoming you to our community, in assuring you that we will stand behind you in your pursuit of excellence for our university, and in wishing you and us the very best in the years to come. Thank you for choosing to join McGill University.
Members of the university community and distinguished guests, Monsieur Saini, au nom du personnel administratif et de soutien de l'université, j'ai l'honneur et le privilège de vous accueillir à titre du 18e principal et vice-chancelier de McGill. Your installation ceremony today is an important milestone in your distinguished career, and I wish you success and personal fulfillment in your new role. Dans votre message d'introduction à la communauté mcgilloise, vous avez souligné les forces de McGill, notre quête inlassable d'excellence, notre adhésion indéfectible aux principes d'équité, de diversité et d'inclusion, et notre ferme volonté de nous attaquer aux enjeux complexes de notre monde. To make our university's third century our most impactful yet, you stress the need to work together as a cohesive McGill that is purposefully aligned with our mission. As a member of the senior management team in university advancement and executive director of the McGill Alumni Association, I join our global network of alumni and supporters and my campus colleagues in pledging to work with you to continue to provide a flourishing future for our students in our university. Congratulations.
Comme le dit Marcel Proust, le véritable voyage de découverte ne consiste pas à chercher de nouveaux paysages, mais à voir de nouveaux yeux. As we meet here today, waiting for a great leader to take our great university to even greater heights, we stand in a sea of change. Not just in search of new directions, but in search of new minds. In just a few days, thousands of graduates will be walking across this very stage, ready to enter the world with a fresh set of eyes. But in just a few months, thousands of students will be taking their very first steps on McGill's hallowed grounds, starry-eyed and ready for a new journey of growth and discovery. Toute fin est un nouveau commencement, alors que tout commencement est une nouvelle fin. Every new chapter will change how McGill's story ends. 3 years of work can cause 30 years of impact and leave behind a history stretching 300 years. As we foray into our third century, the memories of Principal Saini's legacy will not be defined by the whats, but by the who. At the end of the day, the biggest imprints left behind will be on the experiences gained by the art student passionately debating political theories in Leacock, or the science student diligently preparing a Western block in Bellini. For a student to blossom into their full potential, it takes nurture and care. I have no doubts that under the steadfast guidance of our incoming principal, students will continue to increase and grow, not only as researchers and as scholars, but as future leaders of tomorrow in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, and the world. Thank you.
Monsieur le chancelier, Madame la présidente du Conseil des gouverneurs, Monsieur le principal et vice-chancelier, entre le 4101 rue Sherbrooke-Est et le 845 rue Sherbrooke-Ouest, c'est pour la plupart des gens ici une ligne droite qui sépare deux institutions universitaires. Mais pour professeur Saini, elle représente toute une carrière professorale de plus de 35 ans avec un parcours exceptionnel. Pour moi, étudiant du professeur Saini, c'est toute une histoire de succès presque inimaginable en enseignement, en recherche et en administration. Deep, depuis 1991, tu as été pour moi le professeur, le superviseur, le collègue, l'ami et le frère. Et ça continue. Tu m'as appris la patience et l'ambition, la passion et la compassion, la fierté et l'humilité, et tu as inspiré ma vie. Ah oui, tu m'as aussi enseigné la physiologie végétale. Pour ton impact inégal sur ma vie, je suis venu spécialement du Liban, apportant avec moi les plus grandes salutations de ma petite famille, ta famille, et de ma grande famille de l'université de Balamand, c'est pas trop difficile, qui t'a connu et qui t'a aimé. Mais surtout, je suis venu t'exprimer devant l'élite universitaire montréalaise ce que notre lien représente pour moi et que j'ai immortalisé sur un tronc de cèdre du Liban qui est le plus cher pour moi. Je te prie de l'accepter au nom d'une amitié sans faille. Monsieur le principal. Si vous me permettez, je voudrais lire les courtes paroles que je voulais dire à Deep. Behold the cedar, mentor of the earth, with strength and beauty, a mentor's birth. Rooted deep in wisdom and grace, a mentor inspires, leaving a lasting trace. Standing tall, firm and true, a mentor guides, making dreams come true. His timeless help, like rings in wood, building foundations that forever stood. Presented to Professor Saini, Principal and Vice-Chancellor at McGill University, in eternal appreciation of your mentorship. Montreal, May 29, 2023, Jihad Atiye. Congratulations, Deep, and well done, McGill.
Merci à tous les représentants, David, Anya, Gabriel, Carrie et Jihad, pour venir à cette cérémonie et pour vos mots et vos bons vœux qui ont adressé à notre nouveau principal et vice-chancelier. And now we're going to proceed to the honorary doctorate presentations. McGill is honored today to celebrate the achievements of Andrew, or Drew, Fustel, Alexina Louis, and Drew Hayden Taylor. I will ask Professor Deep Saini, Principal and Vice-Chancellor now of McGill University, to present our first distinguished guest, and his probably first act of work as principal, as officially principal, so that he may have conferred upon him the highest recognition that was within the power of the university to grant. And I ask Andrew, or Drew, Fustel to join me at the center stage for the presentation of the honorary degree. Principal Saini.
Thank you, everybody, for this incredible affection. I will speak more about it later. But for now, Mr. Chancellor, I present to you Andrew Fustel. Whether he has his hands deep in working on a vintage automobile or researching rock specimens under conditions meant to stimulate the Earth's crust and mantle, Drew Fustel appears to have spent a lot of his life getting his hands dirty. Il a également passé beaucoup de temps dans un environnement où la propreté est quasi irréprochable, soit dans l'espace intercédal. Et il convient de préciser que M. Fustel se classe troisième sur la liste des 252 personnes qui ont littéralement passé du temps dans l'espace, hors des confins d'une capsule ou d'une navette spatiale. During 3 space missions, NASA astronaut Andrew J. Fustel completed 9 spacewalks with a cumulative time of more than 60 hours and spent a total of 226 days in space. He has truly lived his motto, "The sky is not the limit." In 2009, he joined the crew performing the final repair and servicing of the Hubble Space Telescope. 2 years later, he flew on the last voyage of the Space Shuttle Endeavour. In 2018, Dr. Fustel spent 6.5 months commanding the International Space Center. De mécanicien automobile à temps partiel alors qu'il étudiait au collège, de doctorant en sismologie à l'Université Queen's, ou encore des candidats astronautes parmi les milliards d'autres concurrents. La vie de M. Fustel illustre la maxime qu'à cœur vaillant, rien n'est impossible. Drew Fustel has dug down deep into the earth and reached for the stars. He has demonstrated an outstanding level of achievement in an impressive and varied career and has worked to advance research in such diverse fields as the economic development of space, human health, and global education. His vision, determination, and courage stand as an inspiration to all of us. Mr. Chancellor, I present to you Andrew Fustel so that you may confer upon him the degree of Doctor of Science honoris causa.
Secondly, it's now my pleasure to invite Andrew, sorry, that's not right, oops. Sorry, my pages got mixed up there, 1 second here. I now ask the Principal Saini to present our second distinguished guest, Alexina Louis, so that she may have conferred upon her the highest recognition of the university. And I ask Alexina to join me at center stage for the presentation of the honorary degree. Professor Saini.
Has to give his address
Sorry.
first.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh.
Sorry.
You tried to go to the speech, didn't you? Sorry. Come on up and make your speech. Sorry, I missed that.
Still on the hook. Okay. Thank you all. Dear Chancellor McCall McBain, Principal and Vice-Chancellor Saini, Ms. Bertrand, Chair of the Board of Governors, and esteemed guests here today. 50 years ago, a 7-year-old girl in Cornwall, Ontario, heard her father, Vijay Bhatnagar, who had immigrated from New Delhi, India, tell her that McGill University was the very best school in the nation with the highest international recognition and prestige. Years later, my wife, Indra Feustel, would go on to graduate with her Bachelor of Science degree in psychology from the very same university. Our two children, now young men coming from the United States, would also go on to graduate from McGill with undergraduate degrees in science and arts. One of them is a naval aviator, F-35 fighter pilot in California, and the other is an early career medical doctor in Texas. And then there's me, the only one in the family to fail in achieving the coveted title of McGill degree recipient. Until now, finally. I tell you this about my family, not to take the importance away from the time here today, but just to express my thanks and gratitude. And earlier today, just this morning, Dr. Monroe Bloom asked me what my theme was of my talk, of my address, and I had to think about it and realized very quickly that my theme was one of gratitude and appreciation for being here. For without my family and the history of my family and the lineage that they've provided for me and the support, I would not be here today being recognized by McGill University. I'm humbled to stand here and be included among those that have been recognized by McGill University as worthy to receive an honorary doctorate. Like many of you, this school holds great significance in our family and has deeply affected our lives in positive and fulfilling ways. We have many friends here and consider Montreal a home away from home. In 2011, I flew a ceramic tile from McGill University into space on STS-134, the final flight of Space Shuttle Endeavour. On that tile was William Osler's coat of arms. 100 years earlier, in 1911, he was knighted and chose a beaver and a fleur-de-lis as armoral symbols to represent his Canadian heritage. I thought it fitting that this symbology was with me in space as a link to McGill and Canada. And in 2018, from the International Space Station, while I watched the live stream graduation of our youngest son and delivered a short recorded message to his fellow graduates right here in this room about this time of year, my heart was filled with pride. We are never surprised to see McGill University recognized and highlighted for great achievements in STEM, liberal arts, and humanities. And in fact, we've come to expect such leadership. And McGill University leadership has again forged an auspicious path with the installation of Dr. Deep Saini, an immensely talented and successful individual who has led with a history of curiosity and integrity. McGill has chosen well for this prestigious position. As an entire family of dual U.S.-Canadian citizens, all with degrees from McGill now, it is our privilege to share just a portion of the spotlight today as McGill and Dr. Saini embark upon a new era of growth and development that we all look forward to witnessing and contributing to in the years to come. Merci and thank you.
Let's try that again. Now, I'll ask Principal Saini to present our second distinguished guest, Alexina Louis, so that she may have conferred upon her the highest recognition that is the power of the university to grant, and I ask Alexina to join me at the center stage for the presentation of the honorary degree. Professor Saini.
McGill is a serious university, but then it is not. We adjust, right? Mr. Chancellor, I present to you Alexina Louis, one of Canada's most celebrated and frequently performed composers. Vancouver-born Alexina Louis writes music with an imaginative blend of Asian and Western influences. Créatrice polyvalente et prolifique, Madame Louis a écrit pour un grand nombre de solistes, d'ensembles de chambre, de nouveaux groupes de musique, d'orchestre, parmi les plus importants du pays. Ces genres de composition musicale incluent ballet, opéra et musique de films et de télévision. Ses œuvres orchestrales ont été jouées par des ensembles internationaux de premier plan. Preeminent among Miss Louise's work is a piece she wrote in response to the premature death of Glenn Gould. This work, O Magnum Mysterium in Memoriam Glenn Gould, was selected in 2003 by the National Ballet of Canada for the production of Dominique Dumay's 100 Words for Snow. In 1989, the Montreal Symphony Orchestra performed her work, The Ringing Earth, in the United Nations General Assembly. And most recently, her triple concerto for 3 violins and orchestra was performed during the celebration to mark Canada's 150th birthday. For her outstanding achievements, Alexina Louis has won several accolades, including 2 Juno Awards for Best Classical Composition. In 1999, she became the first woman to receive the Jules Leger Prize awarded to Canadian composers in recognition of quality new work of chamber music. Madame Louis a été nommée officière de l'Ordre du Canada en 2005 et élue membre de la Société royale du Canada en 2006. Plus récemment, elle a reçu le prix Molson du Conseil des arts du Canada, c'est en 2019, le prix du gouverneur général pour les arts et les scènes pour l'ensemble de ses réalisations artistiques, et c'était accordé en 2021. In her achievement at the highest level of musical composition, Alexina Louis is an outstanding model of artistic creativity and excellence. Mr. Chancellor, I present to you Alexina Louis so that you may confer upon her the degree of Doctor of Music honoris causa.
So guess what? It's your turn to speak. Alexina, would you like to deliver your address? Thank
you. Chancellor McCall McBain, Principal and Vice-Chancellor Saini, Ms. Bertrand, and invited guests. It is with deep respect and humility that I accept this honor from McGill University. I feel so privileged that it takes place during the important celebration of Dr. Saini's installation as principal and vice-chancellor. I thought that I'd give you an idea of my connection to McGill University's Faculty of Music. To do so, I have to share with you my COVID pandemic story. For all these decades of my work as a professional composer, the word freelance pops up. Working freelance means never having to say no, which means that I'm always writing music. During the pandemic isolation, though, I finally had time to sort through boxes of documents and scores, and what should I find but a simple blue poster outlining McGill's Contemporary Music Festival, January 17 to 19, 1983, Pollock Hall, 8 p.m. On the opening night of the festival, the McGill Symphony Orchestra, under conductor Antoine Padilla, gave the world premiere of my string orchestra composition, O Magnum Mysterium in Memoriam Glenn Gould. From the moment I unearthed this poster, it took its place in my home studio, where it remains today, a touching reminder of an important moment in my life and early career. Let's go back to 1982, when composer, Professor John Rea of McGill's Faculty of Music contacted me to see if I would be interested in composing a new work for the New Music Festival. It would be a string orchestra composition written especially for the student orchestra, 44 strings in total. Of course, I immediately said yes. What an opportunity. I decided to write a piece inspired by beautiful, colorful images of the universe. The stars, the planets, galaxies, vast spaces. The images swirled in my head and onto the empty staff paper. But sometimes in art, as in life, something happens to change its trajectory. One morning, attending a rehearsal for a chamber work that I had just completed, the harpist told us that she had just heard on CBC that pianist Glenn Gould had suffered a major stroke. It was not expected to recover. We were all in shock. It was inconceivable that one of our most revered, celebrated musicians was clinging to life. He died a week later at the age of 50 on October 4, 1982. After my rehearsal, I went back to my practice room at the Royal Conservatory to work on McGill's new piece. But that first shocking news of Gould interrupted my focus. I began to reflect on mortality and the meaning of being an artist. You give so much. How is it that Gould literally burned himself out at the age of 50? I consoled myself at the piano, improvising on pieces that comforted me. Bach's Preludes and Fugues, the French Suites, and eventually the final musical statement from Mahler's Das Lied von der Erde, Der Abschied, the farewell. I wrestled with my initial starry inspiration against this preoccupation with Gould's death. My composing time swung back and forth between the two, and the deadline was looming. Finally, I gave up trying to force my composition to be something it didn't want to be. My piece changed. Fragments from the Bach and Mahler made their way into my composition, alternating with passages of music that are loud and full of angst, expressions of grief. Some of the musical quotations appear in rather fantasy-like reveries, moments of beauty and calm, alternating with fierce and painful music. Bach and Mahler seem to float from the heavens into the fabric of my piece. Composing music isn't easy. It can totally consume you. What is it that you are trying to say with these little black dots that you put onto the blank page? It's difficult to explain, but even in sound, that which is so ephemeral, I am seeking truth, or perhaps the word might be authenticity. What is it that I'm trying to express in each new piece? How can I communicate that to another human being? Delving deep inside to find what it is you want to say in each piece of music is so often slow, difficult, and yes, even painful. It wrings you dry. Why go through this? In this composition from 1983, written for the string players of McGill's Faculty of Music, I wrestle with this question by alternating sections of pain with those of beauty, trying to answer for myself the elusive why of being an artist. It was a cathartic composition for me. In the end, I realized that despite so many obstacles, through the elusive vibration of air, I can express my deepest feelings, and somehow I might open another human being to feeling something they never have felt before. For me, this is all part of the miracle of being a composer, of having a life in music. I know that O Magnum Mysterium in Memoriam Glenn Gould has had an effect, as it continues to be performed by several orchestras, from the BBC Symphony and the Montreal Symphony Orchestra to most recently the Student Orchestra at the University of Colorado. It has also been made into a ballet, as you heard, by the National Ballet of Canada. I still mark this piece, now 40 years old, as a landmark composition in my career. It is my expression of grief over the premature death of a great musician, as well as my expression of wonder at the mysteries of music, of the universe, and of being an artist. I hope it is apparent that this honor from McGill is particularly meaningful to me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mrs. Louis. And actually, for Andrew's speech before, I noticed this is the first time you actually spoke to this audience with your 2 feet on the ground. So, and Alexina, thank you for all you've done in music, but also for music at McGill and our great faculty of music. And thirdly, I now invite Professor Saini to present our third and final distinguished guest, Drew Hayden Taylor, so that he may have conferred upon him the highest recognition that is in the power of this university to grant. And I ask Drew to join me at the center stage, Professor Saini.
Mr. Chancellor, I present to you Drew Hayden Taylor, one of Canada's leading Indigenous playwrights and humorists. Drew Hayden Taylor has made a significant contribution to Indigenous theatre, film, and literature. An Anishinaabe settler from Curve Lake First Nation, Drew Hayden Taylor is an award-winning journalist. He is also a short story writer, novelist, filmmaker, and television scriptwriter. Monsieur Taylor a occupé bien des rôles au cours de sa carrière littéraire, allant de stand-up comic au Kennedy Center de Washington à directeur artistique de la première troupe de théâtre autochtone au Canada, Native Earth Performing Arts. Les écrits de Drew Hayden Taylor sont un élément important de la renaissance culturelle autochtone qui prend de plus en plus d'ampleur au Canada depuis des années 80. In the words of prose, Mr. Taylor enjoys expanding the boundaries of Indigenous literature. His 2007 novel, that was his first novel, The Night Wanderer, a native Gothic novel, is about an Ojibwe vampire. He also co-created and was the head writer for Mixed Blessings, a television comedy series, and has contributed scripts to other popular Canadian television series, including The Beachcombers and North of 60. In 2007, his TV movie, In a World Created by a Drunken God, was nominated for 3 Gemini Awards, including the Best Movie. Monsieur Taylor a également travaillé sur de nombreux documentaires consacrés à l'expérience autochtone. En tant que cinéaste, il a notamment écrit et réalisé Redskins, Tricksters and Puppy Stew, un documentaire sur l'humour autochtone pour l'Office national film du Canada. Et il a co-créé Searching for Winnie Two pour la société Radio-Canada. C'est une exploration de la fascination des Allemands pour la culture autochtone de l'Amérique du Nord. Drew Hayden Taylor has bridged the divide between Indigenous and non-Indigenous culture, broadened the perspective on what is considered Indigenous literature and made it more accessible to all. Mr. Chancellor, I present to you Drew Hayden Taylor so that you may confer upon him the degree of Doctor of Letters honoris causa.
This is Robert. And Robert, Indigenous Cultural Advisor to the Office of the Provost and Vice Principal Academic and Assistant Professor in the Department of Music Research, to perform Anishinaabe honor song for the honorary degree recipient. And I ask our awardee to please stand during this performance.
Miigwech. Wajou gijugonani nandishna cause the main and dotem obakamakong and doji. I'd like all four of us that we today we stand, we do an honor song for these four have been introduced on the stage. Yep. And I'm going to sing an honor song. This song, it translates, it means a warrior is standing up. That warrior is you. Every time that you stood up for yourself in life to get where you are today. Those times where you had to speak up and use humility and share your truth with the world. And that's what this song is. It's to honor you, a warrior. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Spade. And now I invite Drew Hayden Taylor to deliver his address.
Chancellor McGill, Principal and Vice-Chancellor Saini, Ms. Bertrand, Chair of the Board of Governors. There's a set of principles that many First Nations people live by and try to honor and try to embrace to make them good people. They're called the 7 grandfather teachings. And my partner, the lovely Janine, believes that humility is the most important of those 7 teachings. And McGill is making that very difficult for me. And I think from now on, if ever I get accused of being arrogant, I'm going to blame McGill. I've been wrestling with trying to figure out how I got this wonderful honor. You see, I failed French in grade 11. Not an auspicious academic beginning, and here I am getting an honorary doctorate. I am merely a storyteller and a humorist. But I should have failed more classes. I feel like such a grown-up, and I might add, it's especially wonderful to receive this document during the installation of your new principal, Professor H. Deep Saini. In being informed I was receiving this honor, I got an email from the university telling me, Mr. Taylor, the principal would like to have a word with you. I haven't been in high school in 40 years, but that still sent a shiver down my spine. And Professor, from one Indian to another, as we say on my reserve, namaste. And before HR tries to contact me on that, just remember, I can say that. First of all, I'm told this honor is kind of unusual for somebody who's never been to university. Well, that's not quite true. I've lectured in over 300 of them in 20 different countries. And more importantly, my major contribution to academia was when I was 16, I painted the residences of Trent University. Who knew someday that in a failed French class would pay off so well? But for those not familiar with my work, I am a storyteller. I tell stories for a living. More than that, I'm a contemporary storyteller. That is to say, storytelling used to be primarily an oral adventure. But as people, civilizations, and stories evolved, so did storytelling. It graduated into theater, print, radio, television, movies, and today, most video games have intricate and detailed narratives woven into them. So as a contemporary storyteller, I tell stories in as many different ways as possible. Prose, theater, journalism, documentaries, television, rap, But ponder this if you may. Stories are a delivery device for the introduction and exploration of humor, philosophy, history, morality, and education, to name just a few concepts. Whenever you read or hear, for however brief, a story, you experience it. You are bathed in it. It can shape you, kind of like education, which is why we are here. So that is what I do. I present slices of the First Nations community to those who might be interested. I enjoy it. It's fun. It pays for my dinner, and it beats working in a cubicle. The great thing is, there are stories everywhere. They are practically inexhaustible. They're sitting beside you on a bus. They're walking across the room at a party. They're in what you eat in a restaurant. They're what happens on a date. Well, if it's a good date. I'm confident there's a potential story sitting right beside all of you. People frequently ask me what I tell people who have writer's block. I say, get a decent pair of glasses, because you can't miss them. The word consists of stories, and if you don't see them, then you don't see the world. What is happening today, right here, is a story. And I might write about it someday. So you all better be very nice to me. There's a saying in Anishinaabe-Moan. It goes something like, Nuadin nungam gijak. You may be familiar with it. Loosely translated into Latin, it's something like carpe diem, or seize the day. For me, and I think for everybody, regardless of what profession you embrace and practice, might I suggest you observe the law of Nawadnan Debalmoen. sees the story. Just think how boring your life would be without a good story in whatever context. When it comes to students, when it comes to everybody here, when it comes to our elders. I always tell people, seize the story, because you're never too old or too young to understand a story, appreciate a story, learn from a story. So, to all the people in this room whose shoes are more expensive than my suit, to all the family and friends here who are here to support education, I urge you, seize the story. Make it yours. In whatever language, it doesn't matter how old you are or what you do. Thank you for listening to me. Miigwech.
Thank you, Drew Hayden Taylor, and stories are great. I actually love stories myself. Sometimes I go in meetings and somebody's ready to, instead of saying introduce, they say, just tell me the story. And you sort of get it from the very beginning, get a better perspective on their view of things, not just a factual basis. So thank you for reminding us of that. And now I have the pleasure of inviting Professor Saini, McGill's 18th Principal and Vice-Chancellor, and first from the Faculty of Science, Agriculture, and Environment, to address the audience. Deep.
Good morning again. Bonjour à toutes et à tous. I do know that I am now standing between you and your lunch. So I'm going to make sure that my speech is short, and I promise it will not be longer than 55 minutes. This tent brings back memories. Here we are. In the same white tent in which I once sat here as a proud McGill dad, eagerly watching my daughter cross the stage and receive her McGill degree. Little did I know then that I would one day return to humbly accept the opportunity to lead this great university. It is an honor and a privilege to serve McGill as its 18th Principal and Vice-Chancellor. Chancellor John McCall McBain, Chair of McGill's Board of Governors, Maurice Bertrand, members of the board, thank you for entrusting me with this much coveted responsibility. To the wonderful musical performers, and what an amazing choice, je reviendrai à Montréal. Je suis revenu à Montréal. I am here in Montreal. So to the wonderful musical performers and speakers who generously shared their remarks, including Elder Kevin Deere and our 3 honorary degree recipients. Congratulations to all of you. Your participation is very meaningful for me. Thank you very much. It is an honor for me to have among us representatives of our sister institutions from here and from far. Thank you. I am truly excited by the prospect of working together with you. To McGill's students, professors, staff, and alumni, many of whom are here today, if I am taking on this role with great hopes and boundless enthusiasm, it is because of you. Thank you for welcoming me into your storied community. And I'm grateful to my predecessors whose successive contributions have built and strengthened this remarkable university. Our chancellors, principals, and governors emeriti, many of whom are here on this stage today. Looking out into the audience, I'm reminded that we do not get where we are in life on our own. To my many dear friends who are here, as well as my former colleagues and students, especially my students, including those who have traveled great distances from within Canada and abroad. Your presence means the world to me. Thank you so much. And of course, I would not be standing here without the support of my wonderful family. My wife Rani, our daughters Kavita and Preeti, sons-in-law Nick and Nigel, and last but not least, my 4 grandchildren, Leila, Anya, Solomon, and Zora. This foursome always keeps their popsy on toes. Thank you. And I'm also deeply touched that many members of my extended family have traveled from other provinces and even from outside Canada to be with me here today. I would like to recognize each of you individually by name. I truly would, but in the interest of time and making sure that I don't stand too long between you and your lunch, let me simply say a collective thank you to all of you. I love you so much. Thank you. Now that's the hard part, that's over. I recognize that I'm starting this role at an important juncture in our university's evolution. We are just coming out of the radical disruptions caused by the pandemic, which has led to reimagination of almost every facet of life. It has also taught us many lessons at the same time. In the midst of all of this, McGill marked its 200th anniversary. This is an opportune time to begin laying the groundwork for our future, for our 3rd century. The convergence of these events represents a unique context for reflection. Le Québec est grand et diversifié, et les besoins de ses citoyennes et citoyennes en matière d'éducation sont diversifiés également. Les 20 universités de la province représentent le gamme de secteurs de l'éducation supérieure à cette province. Ces 20 universités répondent à ces besoins de manière coordonnée, chacune jouant un rôle bien à elle. À sa partie, l'Université McGill, qui est profondément ancrée au Québec, est également une institution canadienne et mondiale du premier plan. Depuis plus de 12 siècles, elle laisse sa marque sur le Québec, le Canada et sur le monde. McGill is a preeminent Canadian university, and Drew, I excuse myself also. At this point, I'm going to leave the humility behind just for a moment. McGill is a preeminent Canadian university that ranks among the very best in the world, and yet it is also deeply and proudly rooted right here in Quebec. For over 2 centuries, our university, through our high-quality teaching and scholarly pursuits, has left an indelible mark both at home and around the world. When we think about McGill's accomplishments over time, one thing is strikingly clear. The relentless pursuit of excellence is embedded in our DNA. Please allow me to illustrate with just a few examples. We are the academic home of 12 Nobel laureates. 12 Nobel laureates and 147 Rhodes Scholars, the highest number in all of Canada on both these fronts. We also count over 120 Olympians with 32 Olympic medals, and as of today, 6 astronauts. And when I say 6 astronauts, I have to say that I'm not counting William Shatner, who, as you know, is also a McGill alumnus, Captain Kirk of Star Trek, who is the best known astronaut of them all. My apologies to you. You too. So, counting William Shatner, we have 7. McGill scholars are members of the Order of Canada, L'Ordre National de Quebec, and inductees into the Halls of Fame and learned societies in North America and around the world. McGill students and graduates have figured prominently in Canada's trajectory. 3 Canadian Prime Ministers, including the current Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, 2 Governors General, 15 Supreme Court Justices have all studied here at McGill. Today, McGill comprises 3 campuses, 13 faculties, 14 schools, and 11 major affiliated teaching hospitals. We are home to a diverse community, some 50,000 strong, of students, faculty members, and administrative and support staff. Our researchers are advancing the frontiers of knowledge in a wide variety of fields. Their work was supported just this last year by nearly $700 million in external research funding. We have over 300,000 alumni in nearly every country of the world. 8 of them have gone on to lead their own countries. And many more have led and are leading in countless fields of endeavor, from business, medicine, science, design, and so on. It was a McGill alumnus who authored the United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights. That's the most cited legal document in human history. That is McGill, ladies and gentlemen. I could go on, and you could surely look up much more on the internet. But here I pause for a moment to ask the question that any one of you could be possibly asking. So what? So what if McGill is so great? Why should the world care? Why should anybody care? Well, please allow me to answer the question myself, if I may. The world should care not because of what McGill is, but what McGill is able to do in the service of humanity. For example, the big challenges that the world faces today, be it climate change, public health, energy, food security, environmental sustainability, global order and security, and so on, they are all extremely complex. Therefore, the search for solutions to these wicked problems requires the deployment of expertise that is equally complex and is beyond the capabilities of any single organization or even a single country. These solutions will be found only through collaborative, partnered, and concerted efforts. Cet investissement. No, I lost my page. Je ne parlerai pas de cet investissement ici. Okay, here, I lost a page. So I was saying these solutions are going to take a collaborative, partnered, and concerted effort. So when it comes to the role of universities in this regard, McGill not only offers the breadth and depth of its expertise, but even more important, and that is the point to note, this bench strength that McGill has confers upon McGill the convening ability to bring key partners to the table to solve problems. This is critical both for seeking solutions and for educating the talented individuals who will lead us to these solutions in the next generations. Let me cite just a couple of examples. Un consortium de chercheurs dirigé par McGill est formé d'universités et d'entreprises, dont l'Université de Sherbrooke ici même au Québec, vient de recevoir un investissement historique de plus de 350 millions de dollars. Cet investissement est pour mettre au point la prochaine génération de traitements à base d'ARN messagère, mettant le Québec et le Canada à l'avant-garde mondiale dans cet important domaine. Founded on the groundbreaking research at McGill over the past 50 years, this consortium that I spoke about puts Quebec and Canada at the forefront of our mRNA therapeutics world on the global stage, at the absolute top of the global stage. And this is the value that our universities bring. Et le deuxième exemple, l'Université de Montréal et l'Université McGill se sont unis à divers partenaires, dont Polytechnique Montréal et HEC Montréal, pour mettre sur pied MILA. MILA est un institut de recherche qui est en train de catalyser de Montréal un pôle d'attraction mondiale pour des entreprises en intelligence artificielle. So we are in the process of creating a global hub of artificial research, development, and entrepreneurship here in Montreal, thanks to the collaborative roles of universities like McGill, Université de Montréal, École Polytechnique, HEC Montréal, and other institutions. The promise, therefore, and the potential are clearly there. But let us not become complacent, as we must remember that there are areas where we need to do better. We are not perfect. For example, we must continuously lift our game in identifying and dismantling structural barriers to access and success. Our commitment to pursuit of excellence requires deliberate actions to seek and foster that excellence in every segment of our communities. We owe a very special responsibility in this regard to the populations that have been traditionally marginalized, including and particularly the indigenous and the Black communities. À l'aube de notre troisième siècle, nous sommes fermement résolus à demeurer au service de nos collectivités et également au reste du monde. Montréal est la ville universitaire par excellence au Canada. La proximité de 6 excellentes universités est un atout exceptionnel, riche de possibilités. Ensemble, nous avons la responsabilité spéciale, ça veut dire ces 6 universités, ont la responsabilité spéciale de contribuer à la vitalité et au développement à travers le Québec. Like our sister institutions, McGill is doing its part in ensuring that our benefit is experienced across our entire province of Quebec. Par exemple, la langue maternelle de plus de 20% de nos étudiants ici à McGill est français. Environ 60% de nos étudiants parlent français. Nous sommes la 12e plus accessible université au Québec et ainsi un puissant moteur de la mobilité sociale. En collaboration avec nos partenaires au campus Outaouais de McGill, nous formons entièrement en français les médecins qui vont répondre aux besoins de soins de santé en région. And the first cohort of our students studying for their education degree offered within our indigenous communities will graduate at this convocation. As we embark on the era that lies ahead, there are many reasons to believe that our third century will be our most impactful yet. Montreal's emergence as a major global hub of technology and health sciences offers unique opportunities for McGill. The impending completion of Montreal's rapid transit network will considerably shrink our island and thus open new opportunities for two of McGill's Montreal campuses to become increasingly seamless and grow, please note, grow in concert. We are also at the cusp of starting the most ambitious infrastructure development in McGill's history. This is led by the massive redevelopment of the former Royal Victoria Hospital site, the Fiat Lux Library project, and the Research and Innovation Pavilion at McDonald campus. These projects will deploy McGill's multidisciplinary strengths towards the global effort for greater sustainability. This will happen as we ourselves continue our rapid progress towards achieving carbon neutrality on our campuses by 2040. Central to all of this is our renewed commitment to further strengthen our already stellar record of providing exceptional education and life experiences to our students. After all, our students are the very raison d'etre of McGill. To bring it all together, we will soon embark on an institution-wide exercise to develop a shared 25-year vision for the next chapter in McGill's storied history. I predict that a centerpiece of this chapter will be McGill as a renowned, locally anchored, and globally impactful university. Pour terminer, je vous remercie de me donner cette chance incroyable de diriger McGill à cette époque qui est pleine de promesses. Et je vous remercie de m'avoir permis de retrouver Montréal. Cette ville que j'aime tant. Thank you for this incredible opportunity to lead McGill at this most auspicious time, and thank you for bringing me back to Montreal. I have never, ever been more excited about a cause, the company, and the place. I look forward to all of us, traveling together on this exciting journey that lies ahead. So here's to McGill. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup.
Merci, principal et vice-chancelier Deep Saini. Quel beau retour à Montréal, hein? Au Québec. Robert Charlevoix, soyez très fiers. So congratulations, Deep. You made it. McGill made it. We got a great choice. And I think the future is in front of us. The history is behind, which gives a good base for the future. But I'm really looking forward to this future together. Thank you. Now, to conclude this ceremony, please stand and join Professor Torino in the singing of our national anthem.
True patriot and free. Ton histoire